Alrighty. Welcome back, man. Before we get into it, um, how was your week? How'd your last week go? I know you weren't able to make it last week, but did you have a good week? Any good progress?
Um, I mean, no, it's a busy week. Oh, I got the CEO of a cybersecurity tech company that is here in Orlando. It's growing rapidly. He connected with me on LinkedIn. He hasn't responded to my message, but he connected with me.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Well, that sounds pretty hopeful at least. Yeah, I went to the doctor and I'm pretty sure they just told me that I need to eat more since I'm working out too much, so much. So fun stuff, fun stuff. So I guess there could be worse things. Uh, so
Yeah.
we'll just dive right into it today. Um, but yeah, so last week we started with Python fundamentals, the translation session, variables, functions, lists, directories, comprehensions, f strings, modules. We treat it like it was like what it was. You already knew how to program, and you already knew that all you just need the new syntax. So tonight we're just going to put all of that together, and we're going to build it out. So here's the framing. Um, you've built REST APIs before and expressed in Node. You know what route is, what a request body is, and what a status code is. Um, that knowledge just doesn't go away. What changes tonight is the language and the framework. And FastAPI is going to make you wonder why you weren't writing so much boilerplate in Express. By the end of tonight, hopefully, uh, working with REST API and Python will with automatic interactive documentation, type validation, and clean error handling. So, without further ado, Fast API. Um, so, um, Fast API. It's a modern Python web framework for building REST APIs. It was released back in 2019 and has become one of the most popular Python frameworks in the world. Um, and it's right up there with Django and Flask. So it pretty much took off so fast because of speed. Fast API is one of the fastest Python frameworks available. Benchmarks put it on par with Node and Go for raw throughput. Um, it's built on top of Starlet, which is an async web toolkit, and uvicorn, which is the ASGI server. And then there's automatic documentation. You can write your API. Um, Fast API generates interactive Swagger UI docs automatically from your code. No separate documentation step, no keeping docs in sync with code. It's the same thing. And then type safety. Fast API uses uh, Python's type hints, yeah, type hints, and a library called dynamic for data validation. You define what your data looks like, and Fast API enforces it automatically. Wrong data type in the request body, Fast API rejects it with a clean error message before your code even runs. And then also a minimal boilerplate. Compare a basic Express route to a Fast API route. Express this. Um, that's it. No rec, no res.json. Fast API handles all the serialization automatically. Used everywhere. Netflix, Uber, Microsoft. Fast API is production grade. If you're going for backend Python roles, you'll see fast API in job descriptions constantly. Um, One important thing to know, if fast API supports both sync and async. We're using sync today to keep the focus on the framework concepts, but async fast APIs is the same pattern with async def instead of def. You can just migrate anything we build tonight. Yeah, safety, yada yada. Slides. Um, Setup. So let's get a project running. Like here would be like the full setup. Let's see. Boom. So virtual environments. Quick note on this since it's Python specific. If no, in Node you have Node modules per project. In Python, packages install globally by default, which causes version conflicts between projects. Virtual environment is an isolated Python environment per project. Always use one. Python, with the M flag, Vev, that creates it. Source activates it. Activate turns it on. Your terminal prompt will show when it's active. Um, just shows version conflicts. Now the minimum viable fast API app. Um, I think it was wanting me to like actually run some code tonight, and I'm like, I'm not doing that right now. Main is the file name. App is the fast API instance. Reload restarts the server when you save. And like it's kind of like NodeMon, or Node Daemon. But I like to, I mean, I know it's NodeMon. I like to call it Node Daemon. Um, not sure if you've ever, have some funny names for some of those.
I have
Uh,
funny names for most of them.
oh yeah,
So just put the whole damn thing together and take out all the fucking dots.
yeah. I don't think it's really giving me a choice. I think we're gonna start building a project real quick.
Uh-oh.
Nothing wrong with that. Um, okay. So, um, oh, I skipped a step. Forgot we have to do the M flag, like I was saying. Uh, right without arguments. Looks like we're gonna. Hmm, let's see. I guess I don't need it. I mean, I guess it shows everything. So it sounds like I'd have to, this is what I was doing right here. Looks like I'll have to get it from Windows first for some reason. Mm, yeah, so I'll have to figure out how to download that stuff later, but I guess, this is just setting up a very minimal viable fast API app, just a quick app just to kind of get things going. Um, it, it's just essentially setting up a good virtual environment. Um, in Node, you have Node modules per project, and Python packages installed globally by default, which causes version conflicts between packages or projects. A virtual environment, Dev, um, is an isolated Python project per project. You always want to use one of them. So with the M flag, it's supposed to create it, and then the source, it will tell you whether it's activated or not. So the terminal prompt will typically show when it's active. And then when you run, um, and you run it. So main is the file name, app is the fast API instance. Reload restarts the server when you save, which is just like the no daemon, which if you typically would open up your browser, these are the different local hosts that you would see, like your API, the Swagger UI that's auto-generated, or the redocs. Um, that Swagger UI is fully interactive. You can make real requests to your API right from the browser without Postman or curl. That alone is a reason just to use FastAPI. Um, yeah, that should take us into routes. So no database tonight. Data lives in memory and resets when the server restarts. Um, so let's pretend that we were building a real set of routes. We're going to build a player leaderboard API. In memory data to and in memory data to start. No database yet. So especially since we can't get this running. So you'd start with this to get all of the players. In order to get one of the players, um, and then right here, this is where your fast API is going to be doing the work for you. Um, notice right here, this is the in the function signature. Fast API reads that type as a hint and automatically. So it extracts the player ID from the URL, converts it to a string from string to integer, and then it validates it. So FastAPI returns a 422 error before your function runs. Um, this essentially is the FastAPI superpower. Type hints aren't just documentation, they're runtime validation. The HTTP method maps exactly like Express. Let's see, boom. Um, so you can see app get, app post, put, delete. Same REST conversions you already know, same HTTP verbs, just Python decorators instead of app.get method calls. Um, so this would be the new expression. Um, good interview call out. What is a decorator in Python? Um, the at syntax, it wraps a function with additional behavior. That little at symbol. Um, it wraps a function with additional behavior, and it registers the function below it as the handler for get players. Same concept as middleware and Express, different syntax. And then I also gave blood today. I was wondering, I was like, dude, why am I so tired right now? I was like, that's right, I gave blood today. I'm such a dum dum. uh,
Yeah, because if you haven't drank enough fluids, then that's gonna make you tired.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I have a bottle of water right by me. Let me grab that real quick. Yeah, no, I had to. I ended up giving like the double reds too. So I was like, hell yeah. Already. Paths and params and query params. Uh, oh, geez. So you already used a path parameter before, like player ID inside of curly brackets inside the URL. Uh, so we're going to look at both types properly. So um, a path param, part of the URL path, and then query params after the question mark in the URL. So FastAPI figures out what's a path param and what's a query parameter automatically. Ugh. If a parameter name matches something in curly braces in the path, that's path param. If not, query param. Super simple and clean. Um, Type hints on the query params too. Like active bool means FastAPI converts a string true to Python's true automatically limit, like int 10 means it's optional with a default of 10. So right here. Um, this essentially is the same URL you've been building and Express for months. FastAPI just handles the parsing and the type conversion for you. Pretty quick, easy, fast. Moves us into dynamic models. This is where FastAPI really gets powerful. Um, if you want to just killing me, I swear. Dynamic is data validation library that FastAPI uses under the hood. You define a model like TypeScript interface, and the dynamic enforces it. Um, so click, and then you can compare this model to TypeScript equivalent. Pretty pretty quick and flat and easy. Um,
Almost more simpler than JavaScript.
Same as TypeScript extends. Um, so same concept, just different syntax. Dynamic enforces these at runtime, wrong time, automatic 422 error with a clear message telling the client exactly what went wrong. Um, you'd have two different models, but why? Two models and why. So player has an ID. Let's just stay there. So player has an ID. Is that the right page? Yeah, 2 pounds. What? Yes. Um, Player has an ID for responses when the player already exists. Player create has no ID for request when we're creating and the server assigns the ID. And then this essentially is the same pattern as TypeScript's create user um, versus user data. You pretty much see it everywhere in real APIs. So using like these types of models, um, using these types of models and routes and the function signature will help tell a fast API, um, you know, parse the request body as, player create model, or if the body is missing, name, or has a score as a string instead of an integer, automatic 422 before your function even needs to run. Um, so like player dot dict converts the dynamic model to a plain Python directory, like player dictionary, spreads it the same as, as a spread operator, like the dot 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 in JavaScript. So like a good status code of 201 sets the response status code. A default is 200. So use 201 for resource creation, same as Express. Um, Error handling and response. So HTTP exception. So fast API's error response. Boom. So raise, you want to raise the exception is how you send error responses in fast API. The detailed field becomes the error message in the response body. Fast API formats it. So like player, default player not found. So common status codes, same ones we've always been using. 400, 401, 403, 404, 409, 500. Um, you know, all of the all of the good codes right there. Response models, controlling outputs. Um, boom. Um, let's see. Essentially, let's see. Where's it at? Here. Um, that tells Fast API what the response should look like. If your data has extra fields you don't want to expose, Fast API strips them automatically. Built-in field filtering like a serializer. Uh, Put, is still for updating, like updating a player. Same thing with delete. And full API build. And it looks like, this lesson also has it pretty much running through. So, if you do want to watch this back and, pause it so you don't have to listen to me, talk, you can at least find the slides to, or actually, I'll be dropping the reveal deck into the resources one too. So if you want to like try to build this environment and stuff like that, and uh, feel free. And if you do, definitely send a screenshot of what it looks like. Um, but we're going to try to take a look together at it though as a whole. So the complete leaderboard API should look like this. And that's the complete CRUD REST API, full type validation, automatic docs, clean error handling, about 50 lines of Python. The equivalent in Express with validation would be about 2 to 3 times the size of this, and you need to write the docs separately. So, if you opened your local host at 8000/docs, every route is there. You can try them live, add a player, get the leaderboards, delete one. That's your API working. And this is what Python backend looks like. Um, this is why it has been taking over because it's shortening things by 2 to 3 times the amount. What it gives you. So game time. Or any questions there, CJ?
Well, I'm not the only one here. But no, actually, I am probably gonna watch it back and pause it so I can take my notes. Um,
Yeah, and I'll drop the deck into the resource tab as well, and I won't take a week to do it. I'll do it right after the meeting tonight.
bro, I'm horrible at getting on and off, and then
You're good. You're good. Yeah, we'll do a couple of multiple choice and then probably call it for the night because I'm feeling a little bit tired tonight after giving blood and hitting the gym and all that jazz. So, what does decorator do?
A.
Hell yeah. What command starts a fast API server with auto reload? So this was what we used to use.
Yeah, it's gonna be pi something.
Nope, uvicorn
Oh yeah.
is the ASGI server that runs FastAPI. Main is the file name, app is the FastAPI. What URL gives you the auto-generated interactive API docs? One that says docs.
As I say, you won't docs. You're gonna click on the one that says docs.
What does player ID int do in this
Yeah,
route?
being around.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Here most of the time, which I
A.
apologize. Hi guys.
Hey, what's up,
Um,
for?
it,
Let's go. In FastAPI, how does it know a parameter is a query param versus a path param?
C.
Oh snap. What does this dynamic model do?
Don't know.
Defines the shape of that
That was gonna be
incoming request data. What is the
A. But
Python
it's already out.
equivalent of the JavaScript spread? ID, new ID. Oh, snibbity snap. We're trying to get 100% today, guys. I mean, come on, we got it.
I want to say A, but I'm also thinking it may be C. I don't have that wrote down. Am I wrong? Is it D? I don't
I
remember C.
I think it might be D, but what do you think?
I say
A,
A or C, but
D. So yeah,
D
so
was wrong.
dict. D was right. I clicked A. Correct answer D.
I know. I mean, A was wrong.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Dict converts the dynamic model to a plain Python dictionary. That then spreads the key value pair as keyword arguments. How do you return a 404 error in Fast API?
We don't use res in JavaScript, so it won't be D.
Exception. To throw errors, you want the exception. Raise an exception.
Oh yeah.
Raise the roof. Roof. Yeah. What does response model list player do?
I know it's not D. I know it's not D, but I don't know.
C. It filters the response to only include fields defined on player. That tracks. What status code should be used for successful post, create, return? Uh-oh.
200.
200 or 201?
204. I don't know.
201.
Probably 201.
What is a virtual environment in Python? Easy. That one was easy. What does this route accept?
Never in doubt, Charlie out. uh, I would say B or C, but I'm not gonna. I know it's not A or D.
It was D.
Oh well, I was wrong. It's D. I was gonna say B or C.
What ATTP
Is a successful return.
method in status code does successful delete 204. No content in the response body. FastAPI automatically returns a 422 error when
422. The request body and params doesn't match router. We have to input HTML.
ding 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 ding. Not bad. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Other than that, just to wrap up the YouTube video, um, yeah, if you guys are just watching the videos and not joining the Discord, making a big mistake, hit me up so you can get in there for all these resources, games, yada yada, and just so you can connect with everybody. Fast API, what it is, why it matters, project setup with uvicorn and virtual environments, get, post, put, delete routes, path parameters, query params with automatic type conversion, dynamic models, Python's TypeScript interfaces, request body validation, response models for output control, HTTP exception for clean error um, responses, and a full CRUD leaderboard API built from scratch in under 50 lines of code. We now have the Python fundamentals and a Python backend framework. That's a real backend stack. Now we can go deeper, either connecting this API to a real database, adding authentication, or deploying it. We'll figure it out together. I'm going to try to get this also built on my time now, so that way it's not on y'all's time on the video. And get that figured out. But yeah, I suggest you guys try to figure it out on your end as well. It might be fun and might teach you guys some new stuff as well. But I will see you guys on the next one. Later.